This is Professor L.B.Gayakawad's English Literature Web. I am Professor L.B. Gayakawad is discussing today the topic lecture number 371 on my first son by Ben Jonson. Before going to the topic, I will request you to like and subscribe my channel. I will request you again to see all the notes which I have put in the description box. Now we are going to discuss the topic. At first we will see the introduction of the poem On My First Son by Ben Jonson. This is a small poem by Ben Jonson on life and death as an elegy in which he expresses his emotions on his 7 years old dead son as his destiny and God's wish. It means that here his son is 7 years old and he has died, and that's why it is the question of the life and death, and hence it has been the destiny of the son, and that's why he is talking on such things here. He understands that his son has been free from human labor, pangs, and oldness, which are harder to live life. Remember, this life is, it means the earthly life is very much dangerous for living. It means that it has been there with cares and pangs and problems, and so this son has been freed by all this, and that's why here the poet is saying that. Influenced by William Camden, Ben is known as a classical poet. He has been an actor, a playwright for Philip Henslowe's theatre company. He wrote Volpone in 1606 and Alchemist in 1610 for the London stage. Now we are going to see the body of the poem. Ben Jonson pays tribute to his dead son Benjamin or Ben, who was his right hand and his joy. Remember, this son was his joy, his right hand. And that's why the poet is unhappy for his death. The poet's scene was that he loved Benjamin very much as his hope. Now the best thing the poet says that it is his sin that he has loved his son very much, and now this loving son has been dead, and that's why it is the tragic scene in his life. Benjamin lived only for 7 years, and the poet also cared him only for 7 years. Remember, the tragic thing is that the son only lived with the poet for 7 years, and the poet also cared him only for 7 years, and that's why it is the tragic scene for the poet. Death was Benjamin's fate, which took him to God. It means that here everything depends on fate, and that fate has taken this Benjamin to God according to the poet. Now Jonson is not a father. The father has gone with Benjamin according to the poet. It means that the father now is not there. He has gone with Benjamin, the dead son. It is his complaint that God has done bad with him, and the sorrow has been unbearable to him, and such a sorrow is very serious for everyone. He tells that such type of thing should not happen in anybody's life because it is serious for the poet as well as for anybody. The poet opposes and hates this tragedy without lamenting because the fate and God have unjustified with the son and the father. Means here the injustice of the God and fate with the poet and the son, and that's why the poet does not like this. The poet blames God and requests him to do proper with man in such a tragic condition. So the poet requests God that God should do always very good if such thing happens with a man. He must lament because life has torn him into pieces of melancholy permanently. It means that now the poet will be there for sorrow because his life has been torn because of the death of his son. The death has given him the anger by snatching his loving son Benjamin. So the poet has here become very much angry with God because his loving son has been dead. The poet's son dies in the childhood of 7 years, who looks no life and childhood, so he experiences the intense sorrow here. The poet requests God to provide peace in heaven to his dead son. Means he is requesting God that he should provide the particular peace to his soul in heaven, and tells him to reply people that he has been his best poetry if someone asks him. The poet tells his son that if someone asks in the heaven, then he should say that he is the classical poetry of his father. Finally, Ben Jonson says his dead son will be living his life for giving him the classical poetry, which will be the poet's vow, more than the loving things in life. It means that here permanently that son will be in the remembrance of the poet, and the poet will be writing the classical poems. And now we are studying the conclusion. The poet's dead son was his only hope to make him happy in life. He has accepted that everything in man's life runs with God's wish, and no one can go against that God's wish. Ben expresses common man's sorrow with the help of his own example. Means he has given his own example, and he has said that this is the life of everybody. He has been shocked and dumb of his son's death, and as a result he has forgotten to lament his death because he has no capacity of expressing his death sorrow, and lament is less before his death. Remember, now the sorrow has been too much, and that's why now the poet has no capacity to lament his son's death. It has been God's mistake that he has given him death in his blooming time. Now see, the age of 7 years is nothing but just the blooming time, and in this blooming time God has killed his son, and that's why here Ben Jonson is very unhappy with this God. Ben has compensated his debt here, that is debt here, towards God, but he warns God that he should not kill such a just blooming children. So that's why here the poet is requesting God he should not kill such children anywhere, and such type of situation should not come into the life of anybody. Ben tells here the difference between the earthly life and the heavenly life. So here the son has gone into the heavenly life. He is there in the peace, and that's why here the life of the earth is full of cares, and the life of the heaven is with God. That's the difference which here Ben Jonson is telling. Earthly life has to end, and heavenly life is permanent with God without any end. Here the difference the poet is talking about. The poet's son is dead today, and everyone will die after one another on time. Here the poet is telling that this is the reality, that everyone will die. Many people have taken birth on the earth and have left it at God's command, because death is a salvation to man. Remember, finally the poet says that this death is the salvation to man, and everybody will take birth on the earth and he will die with a salvation. So this is the topic which we have ended. Again we will be in front of each other with a new topic. Till then, thank you very much.